Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to my first Zoom interview of 2026. I'm excited to have Barbara Blythe on with me this week. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Dina.
How are you?
All right. How about you?
I'm good. So, Barbara lives in my neck of the woods, not too far from me. And she and I have been in the same local writers group for, I guess, a couple of years now.
Mhm.
And Barbara has a book coming out soon. So I just wanted to bring her on and have her share with you about herself, her writing, and her book. So, first things first, Barbara, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and just share anything that you might want readers to know about Barbara Blythe.
Okay. Thanks, Dina. Well, I have lived in Chesapeake all of my life. My mother before me has lived in Deep Creek, which is where I've been. So we go way back in this area, and
Mm-hmm.
I also live right next to the Dismal Swamp. So
Okay.
so it's very interesting, especially with the history that I so much love. Um, I have been through several careers. I was a banker for 25 years. Then I worked for the Chesapeake Public Schools as an administrative assistant for another 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but I started writing as a hobby probably seriously in the 80s.
Mm.
I'd always liked writing because I was encouraged in school when I was in even as far back as elementary. I was always writing things, I was entering contests, and it's always been there in the back of my mind. So started writing, didn't get anywhere. I was writing for the secular market, and that I soon learned was not where I wanted my audience to come from. So I changed to Christian historical romance probably in the early 2000s. And that's what I've been working with ever since.
Mm-hmm.
My first publishing opportunity came around in 2010 with Pelican Book Group. Had three books published from them with them, and then the bottom sort of fell out of my personal life. I lost my husband
Mm-hmm.
unexpectedly, and things were a little hard for me at that point, just trying to keep up with what was now all my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother was getting older, and I was still working full time. So
Yeah, that's a
that's
lot to deal with. And I'm really sorry that you've had to go through that. I have several friends who've lost their husbands since I've known them, and it's very difficult.
it is, but and I'm in a way I didn't have the inspiration. I guess is what was lacking. Not that I had stopped wanting to write. I guess reality was kind of hindering my creative spark. So
Yes, well, I can
yeah,
imagine. I can only imagine that. It's
yeah,
hard to write through those difficult seasons, and sometimes
yeah.
maybe God wants us to take a step back and do a reset.
Well, and that's true. The only thing is now I could kick myself because I lost a good 10 years, but
Mhm.
you know, that's just one of those things. And
Mhm.
I just thank God that he's returned my creative spark, I guess. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah. Well,
thankful for
I'm
that.
I'm glad too.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So you started writing many years ago.
Mhm.
Did you grow up wanting to be a writer? Did you grow up a reader?
Oh, well, reader first. My mom introduced me to all the books she had kept from her, childhood into her early teenage years. And my grandmother was an avid reader. And so the reading came first. And then in sixth grade, I had this teacher. I thought she was the coolest thing ever. It was like in the late 60s, and she dressed, like young women did in those days. So she seemed to take an interest in me. And we had a writing assignment that I thought, well, hey, this is going to really be neat. She wanted us to use certain words. And And at the time, I was a fan of a soap opera called Dark
Oh,
Shadows.
I remember Dark Shadows
Barnabas
very well.
Collins.
Yes.
Well, not that I'm into vampires and witches, but for some reason, the governess really caught my attention. So when we were given these words, I wrote a scenario using her as the main character of my short story and worked in the words that the teacher had given us. And she came back after I did that and said it was really, really good. So after
Oh,
that, I just
yeah.
started writing.
Yeah. It's amazing what a little bit of encouragement can be,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is. And that's what those are the kinds of teachers that probably don't get enough recognition, but she did really point me in that direction, although I didn't know it at that time.
So
So,
would you'd look back and say she was kind of your inspiration that kind of piqued your interest in,
and writing, yeah,
yeah.
she did.
So you mentioned historical romance. Is that the genre that you write?
Yep, Christian historical romance.
Okay. And so what inspired you to choose that genre? There's lots of other genres you could have
Oh, yeah.
done.
I'm a history nut. My dad was a history nut. Every vacation we went on, he took us somewhere historical. I've been to the battlefields. I've been to the people's houses. So I don't know. It's just, well, to me, it's fascinating when I
Mhm.
go into these homes and see their furniture and their what they lived with and how they lived. It's just, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just very interesting.
I was not a history lover at all when I was in school.
Uh
It
huh.
was very difficult for me. I couldn't keep all the dates straight, remember what war was when, and
Yeah.
all the things. But I do really enjoy historical fiction now. And
Oh,
I've so
good.
many times I've thought, if they could just do that in high school, like let you read historical novels,
Hmm.
because I feel like I learn pretty well through story. Um,
And that's a good point. And in fact, most my historicals, for the most part, do revolve around a pivotal point in our country's history. Usually, mine are set in here in the United States.
mhm.
So I try to incorporate that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I've read quite a few books like that, and it's very interesting to me. And I love learning about history that way.
yeah, yeah.
So if you couldn't write historical romance, what genre might you write?
I would go to mysteries.
Okay.
In fact, my earliest favorite character was Nancy Drew.
Oh, me
Uh,
too. Oh, I love Nancy.
oh my gosh. But I had the advantage of having my mother's original Nancy Drew books from the late 30s, early 40s, and
Wow.
they are much more, um, they're much deeper in plot than the ones you can buy now. Like if you had
Hmm.
tweens that you wanted to buy those books for, they were about twice as large, many pages, twice as many pages, and had more depth to them. So
Wow,
I
that's
would go with mystery, and it would be historical mystery of some kind because I think it's neat the way the historical mysteries can still solve a crime, but they don't have any of the modern technology that we have. So it would
I
be
love a good
mysteries.
mystery too. I love
Yeah.
suspense and
Yeah.
I write contemporary, but I've said that too. If I was going to write something different, it would be a
Uh
suspense
huh.
or mystery
Yeah.
or something because I love that genre.
Yep.
I'm not
That's
sure
good.
that I could write it like putting the little clues and hints along the way without giving it away and
Yeah. That,
all the
yeah.
things that you
Hmm.
have to do to write that kind of genre, but I do
Yeah.
love it. Now, I wish I'd kept my Nancy Drew books. I got rid of them and I
Uh
regret
huh.
it. I wish I'd kept them for my grandkids, my kids, and then my grandkids. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have them.
Well, I still have moms, and
Wow.
I had at one point, I had almost the whole set, but most of them were the more modern versions. So when I tried to clean out my bookshelves, I did get rid of some of the more modern ones, but I still have her original
Wow,
set.
that's awesome. I bet those are worth some money.
Well, they might be, but that
Well, I know you're
I
going to
just,
keep them, but
yeah,
they're
I
like,
know,
they've got
yeah.
to be collector's items at this point.
They most likely are, and some of them even have their paper covers. You know, in those days they actually had the covers on them, so real
Wow,
covers.
that's so cool.
Yeah. So
All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about your writing.
okay.
So I know a lot of authors are different and how long it takes you to write a book. Some of these people, are putting out 4 or 5 books a year, and it boggles my mind. So what about you? How long do you think on average it takes you to write a book?
Well, if all were going smooth and well, and there weren't any hiccups in my life or a family, probably I could probably get a book written in 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Now, is that just a draft or is that like it's
no,
ready to
well,
go?
that would be the whole story, and maybe not with going through and editing scenes or what have you, but it would be the complete book, and then I'd have to go back and
Okay.
tweak it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first draft, about
Yeah, it would be probably 3 months, but
yeah.
that doesn't, it just seems like every time I turn around, something's happening. And
Hey,
I
I
know you know
know.
how that is.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm trying to get a book two written, and it's like I can't even get the first draft done because so
Right.
many other things just keep coming up.
I know. I know.
So life,
So,
life.
well, when my husband was still living, that's about, I was able to do it because, like I said, a lot of the things that I'm dealing with now, he dealt with. And
Yeah.
so I was churning out, and not print worthy books, but I was churning out stories probably about every 3 to 4 months. And
Mm,
just, you can see, I don't know if you can see behind me, you'll
mhm.
see some boxes. That's where they ended up.
Oh my goodness.
And they obviously need to be redone, but I've got the idea of the story,
Wow.
and they're there.
Yeah, you've got a great baseline there to work from. You could publish books for years to come, right?
Well, if the Lord lets me, that's what I hope to do. But like I
Oh,
said, it was a lot easier to write when he was with me. So
so how many published works do you have right now?
okay, I have three,
Okay,
three with
with Pelican.
Pelican. Then I have this one coming up with Elk Lake.
Okay.
Yeah,
But then you have how many unpublished uh, books would you say you have that you could potentially go back and
and
rework?
rewrite. Well, they're probably about 15. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh man, I'd love to have that in my back pocket. That's amazing.
Well, like I said, some of them need a lot of work, some of them don't. Some were written before I decided to go with a Christian focus. So they would require heavy editing. Not that they were all that bad, but I
Hmm.
mean, questionable or whatever you want to call it, but
Yeah,
they would still need to be modified.
right, right.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, how do you incorporate Christ and hope into your writing? If you were going to go back and rework those stories,
Oh,
what
sure.
would you do?
Well, first of all, when I now, and this is what I would do with those books, is I usually start the two characters. One of them is usually well grounded in their faith. They've either been raised in that environment or have come to accept Christ as the leader of their lives. So, and then it's the other person, whether it be male or female, that is like they've had some situations or been exposed to terrifying things that have changed their outlook. So, what I try to do is the two and the two connect. One's got the strong faith, the other is filled with doubts, questions, and as they go through whatever situation they're in, they learn to work not only together but come as one in their faith, and that usually helps them resolve some of the problems they're in. So
Yes.
no, they aren't both strong in their faith when they begin, but they use one. There's not. I don't ever use characters that are like don't believe in God or something like that. They have a belief, but life's events have just pushed them in an opposite direction.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Makes a lot of sense. Sounds good
yeah.
to me.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about the book you have coming out.
Okay.
The title is Far Grander Than Paradise.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about the premise of the book. What's it about?
Okay. Well, I start in next door to us, Norfolk, Virginia, in
Mhm.
the 1850s. Um, the girl, the heroine, she is of mixed blood. Her father is a sea captain, and he met and fell in love with a Polynesian woman on one of his voyages, and brings her back to Norfolk. Of course, they're married, and she's never really accepted the woman he married, and their daughter, their only child. Unfortunately, because of her mixed blood, is viewed as not quite up to snuff. She's not what everyone preconceives a society young woman would be at that time. So she's dealing with that.
Mhm.
Her mother passes away, and the father's still sailing, so he's gone a lot. And she's a talented painter. She paints, and but she does so secretly because she doesn't want them to think she's odd in another way. I mean, that isn't something that I guess is considered an option for a young woman.
Yeah, back in that
Um,
time.
exactly. So she paints in secret, but she's made a friend with a local art, kind of like he does collectibles art and that sort of thing. And he sells her paintings under an assumed name. So that's how she's using her art, her gift from God. The father, though, is reported lost on one voyage. She's devastated because she feels like he's the only thing that's sort of protecting her from where the people she lives among. And but she, for some reason, she keeps thinking he's not dead. He can't be dead. And then she gets some news that he may not be dead. That someone had seen him in San Francisco and then knew he was going somewhere in the South Pacific. Well, she needs a way to get to the South Pacific. So this clipper ship captain, clippers were the big deal in the 1850s because of their speed. They could get around down the east Atlantic coast, around the tip of South America, and up to San Francisco in like 80 days, which was phenomenal. So he's put into port. He's headed to San Francisco, and he has also become guardian of two an orphaned niece and nephew. His brother has been reported murdered.
Mm-mm.
And he's trying to get the children to their grandfather, who has a plantation in Bora Bora, which is the South Pacific. Well, he's not a very warm, fuzzy uncle, and he punishes them. He doesn't beat them or anything, but he inflicts some punishment upon them that they don't like. So they run away from the ship while they're in port in Norfolk, and they run into the female character. And he comes storming up to her and tells her to let go of those children, or he's going to do something to her. And she stands up to him, and that's how they meet. She's
Okay.
befriended his niece and nephew, and he doesn't like that.
So is there a favorite scene you have from the book?
Yes, it's when they first meet in Norfolk. She has in this particular scene, she's already asked him would he accept her as a passenger on when he completes his voyage around to the West Coast, and he's told her no. Several reasons. He's kind of an uptight person, and he's dealing with these two children that are driving him crazy, and he tells her he's not taking any passengers. Well, he could because he does have room. He just doesn't want to mess with her. So anyway, she tries to, I guess, smooth his ruffled feathers because she still needs a way to get to San Francisco. So she invites him to dinner at her home with the children. But as they get ready to depart, she's going to try one more time to ask him nicely if he will let her sail to San Francisco. So they're out on the veranda, and this is how it goes. He says to her, now they're outside, while they're getting ready to go outside. I believe you wish to speak to me before I depart. And she goes, yes, thank you. He allowed her to precede him, received another suspicious look from Mrs. Simmons, who's the housekeeper, followed Miss Wimblish out onto the wraparound porch and closed the door. How was this woman even more beautiful when bathed in the glow of a street lamp? I will be direct, Captain. I wish to continue our earlier conversation. Ah, of course. And here I thought you'd revise your opinion of me and wish to be friends. Would his attempt at humor unfurl her sails? You, sir, would be the last person I'd wish as a friend. Apparently not. So, anyway, that's
I love some good enemies to lovers stories and the banter that goes on between
yeah,
the characters.
yeah,
That's one of my favorite tropes to read in a book.
yeah. Well, they go on that way for a while until nature and attraction, the forces of nature and attraction pull them together. So,
Yes, and I'm sure
yeah.
he softens up over
Oh,
time.
oh, he does. Yeah.
Yeah. So is this story inspired by any true events or any personal history?
Yes, actually, this goes way back to my childhood. My dad was a veteran of World War II. He was actually in the Coast Guard, but they got sent to the South Pacific. And as far back as I can remember, he would tell me tales about the layover of their ship, which was the USS Aquarius at Bora Bora.
Mm.
He said he'd never, well, this was way before he met my mother. He said he'd never seen such beautiful women, the Polynesian women, the French Polynesian women. And so I thought, wow, that must be an exotic place. So
Mm.
that's really how they end up in Bora Bora. Although
Okay.
at that time in the 1800s, it was actually a kingdom. It was its own kingdom. And then as time went on, France took possession of the island and sent their own representatives there to rule the place. But
Mm.
they had a king. And anyway, so that
Wow.
was it. Yeah.
So did you have to do a lot of research like on Bora Bora and a
Oh,
lot of those things?
yeah, yeah. In fact, even when I was doing the last edit, I guess you could say, I went back through to see if there's anything else I could pull up about Bora Bora. And that's when I found out that they were still ruled by a king at that time in the
Mm.
1850s.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's one reason I can't imagine myself writing historical fiction because the amount of research is so daunting to me. It just feels overwhelming. But as a history
Yeah.
buff, I'm sure you thrive on that research probably.
Well, it is because I learned things, like I'll know half the story. And then as you go a little bit deeper, and then you'll see something that leads you to another site. And it's kind of neat the way it
Mhm. Mhm.
all comes together. So,
Now,
yeah.
is this book that's coming out, is this one that you had originally written many years ago that you
Yes.
pulled back out?
Yeah, this was one I had written before my husband passed away, and yeah. So, but this one, it was way too long. I think I remember in one of our meetings, I said the book's 500 pages, and they want me to cut out like 200 or something like that. So that really took a lot of time. But
Yeah.
yeah,
How many words did you land on for the final?
they finally accepted it at 90,000. I think it's 89,
Oh
99.9.
man, you had to cut a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Whew, that's hard to do. I've had to do that too. It's a lot of work.
But I've learned a lesson. Going forward,
Make them shorter.
I'm gonna shoot for 85,000 and
Mhm.
hope that works. So
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my
yeah,
second one now. I've got an 85,000 word goal, but I know it's going to be more than that. But
yeah. But
yeah, at
that's
least shoot for that, right?
yeah, that's right. That's the hope.
So, do you have a favorite Christian fiction author or a favorite Christian novel that you love?
Well, I don't have a favorite novel, but I've got several Christian authors that I usually look for first when I'm looking for a new book. I like Elizabeth Camden,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one who does mystery and weaves mystery into her stories, and I'm maybe pronouncing her last name wrong. Her name is Michelle Griep.
Mm-hmm.
It's spelled Griep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Rosanna White.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love her books too.
Yeah,
So,
she's phenomenal.
yeah.
Mm.
So, but I can't say which of those I would say is my favorite. I like them all in different ways because they all have a
Right,
different style.
right, right. Well, as we start to wrap this up,
Okay.
what's next for you? I know you're going to launch this book. I think you said January 20th. I know this
Uh-huh.
this interview is going live right around that time. Of
Okay.
course,
Great.
we're recording this a little earlier. But do you have something next that's coming after that?
Yeah, I do. When I first got or just before I got the notice from Elk Lake, I had sent one of the books I wrote 10 plus years ago when I wrote Far Grander Than Paradise back to Pelican. You know, Pelican gave me my first opportunity. I didn't hear from them. I didn't hear from them. And then all of a sudden, after I'm into this with Elk Lake, I get a contract from them
Mm.
on, and this is actually similar to your title. It was called Stronger Than the Shifting Sands.
Oh,
And this one takes place in the early 1900s when Henry Flagler is building his railroad to Key West. So this takes place in Florida, and they took it.
wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Congrats. I didn't know
Well,
that.
yeah, well, that's kind of happened since before, after we weren't meeting as regular. So that one's done. I've got the cover for that one. And
Mm.
then going all the way back to my very first book, it was called Fire Dragon's Angel with Pelican. I had written a sequel to that and had never done anything with it. And now they're going to print that one, Pelican.
Yay.
So that's going to be called Firebird's Star, and that takes place in the Dismal Swamp
That's
in the
awesome.
late 1600s. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy for
Oh
you.
well, thank you. Yeah, and they've I've thought that I was a lost cause with them because, like I said, it took them months before they finally came back with the one on Key
Hmm.
West. So
Hmm. So when's that one coming out?
I don't have a
Oh,
date
you
for
don't
either
know
one
yet.
of them, of
Okay.
course, but I've already got
So,
covers for both of them. So
wow.
yeah,
That's mind-boggling that you
yeah,
have covers already.
I know, but I have no release date.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't know. Have you done any edits with them yet?
oh, they're done.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
the
completely
edits are
done.
done.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. You've been a busy lady.
Well, but like I said, these were already written. Thank
Hmm.
the Lord I had already done them. So all I had to do was go back, take out some words. I knew what they were looking for. So that
Hmm.
I knew I was gonna have to do that. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was about it. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm excited for
Well,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
You're,
But I
you're,
don't know what my future is going to be with Elk Lake. They've pretty much told me up front um, it's going to have the bearing. It's going to depend on how many books I
yeah,
sell.
that's right. You got to
Yeah,
sell the books and get the
yeah.
reviews, right?
That's yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So all of you who are watching this, buy Barbara's book.
Yeah.
And then once you read it and you love it, make sure you review it on Amazon, Goodreads, BookBub, all the places, and help promote her so she can keep writing books and keep getting contracts. I never realized before I got into this business how important reviews are. I had
I didn't either.
no clue. And they are like gold for authors. So please, if you're a reader, review, review, review. Super important.
I'd like to say one thing though before we close out. I want to thank you because if it hadn't been for your persistence and emailing me and letting me know about the group that you were heading up, I don't know that I would have done anything with these books. So I really thank you for that and the
Oh,
encouragement.
well, thank you for saying that. It was such a pleasure meeting all the writers and, getting together and chatting about books and brainstorming things and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe in the future when things settle down, we can get that going again. We'll see how things shake out.
Yeah,
I just had to let some things go for right now.
I know. I know. You can't do it all.
No, nope. So I got to feel it all out and find my place and figure out what I can do.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Barbara. It's been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
chatting with you, and I'm excited for your book to come out. And I just wish you the best. And I'm so glad that you're back in the saddle
Yeah.
and you're getting it done.
Yeah. Well, thank
All
you.
right.
Because, like I said, I appreciate the support.
All right. Have
Thank
a
you.
good one.
You too.